I thought I would be somebody different by now. Not famous, not rich in any sense, but instead it just different. The version of myself I was building towards when I decided not to go to university. When I started this channel, or when I told myself that this year specifically was going to be the one where everything changed. And that person is yet to show up. And in my head, I've been doing almost everything right, or at least everything I was told was right. I've been building the channel, uploading consistently. I've been showing up to my job and working more shifts so I can build stable income. I've been filling my hours with things that looked like progress from the outside. Meditation, gym, taking cold showers, anything, all that habitual routine, I guess. The habits are there, and it's pretty undeniable for myself, but the consistency is kind of the issue. It's mostly there, but some of it lacks. Yet, I feel the exact same as I did at the exact start of this year. The 1st of January, right? It's been more than 6 months already, which is honestly insane, but I feel the exact same. I don't feel as if I am a different person to that day. And that is the part I haven't said really out loud at all or told anyone. Like literally anyone. Not even to myself, honestly, until recently, until I journaled about it and reflected on it. Underneath all the doing, nothing has actually changed or shifted. The numbness itself is still the same, and the day looks the same, and I wake up following the same sequence again and again. And somewhere in the back of my mind, in the back of the sequence, in the routine, there's a version of myself, a version of the year that I'd imagined, which continues to not arrive. What I thought productivity would do to my life, I thought that if I built enough, if I created enough, if I worked hard enough and often enough, I would eventually feel like the person doing those things. I felt as if the identity would follow through the action, and one morning maybe I would finally wake up and the channel would be something that I could be proud of, or the income would be real so that I don't need a reason to go to university, or don't need a reason to lock myself down to this lifestyle of sedentary working day in, day out. I thought I would have a proper and an earned and a really felt reason for every single choice I had made throughout that year. Instead, I have this channel which is growing, but it's growing slowly. I have a job which I simply show up to, and honestly I fucking hate it now because I've been there for so long. I have a gym routine that comes and goes. Sometimes I'm going 5 times a week, 4 times a week, which is enough for my upper lower split. Sometimes I go once, sometimes I go twice, which is not even close to enough. And I also have a self which again feels more or less identical to the one that made all the decisions for me 12 months ago. And the promises continue to come. I keep promising myself I will change, but the change that follows is still on its way. It's delayed by quite a while, honestly. And I've been telling myself that it's still coming since January. There is this specific kind of emptiness that productivity produces, and yet nobody talks about it for some reason. No one mentions the emptiness that comes with the deep work and the hours and hours and weeks of productivity. It's not the emptiness of doing nothing, because you are actively working, you are filling the time with habits. The doing nothing has its own guilt, it has its own shame, its own texture, its own uncomfortable honesty, but that is not the one that productivity brings. Instead, I think it's a lot quieter and also harder to name in its own aspect. In my opinion, this shame, this emptiness comes from doing the things and finding the things which don't actually change the feeling underneath them itself, right? You do stuff, but the stuff you do doesn't bring purpose. It's like you're building an external architecture for a life that is empty inside, or a building which has no flaws. It's like a shell of a life. It feels as if you're supposed to feel like you've discovered something, but the feeling that you think you've discovered never arrives, and the structure is all you really have left to show for it. You can film the video, you can post the video, and you can watch the numbers and hit the targets, hit the metrics, the CTR, blah blah blah, but you can still feel like someone watching themselves from behind glass, even after achieving all the goals that you set for yourself. And I think I confused becoming with doing throughout this process. I thought to myself that if I did enough of the right thing, I would become the very person I was attempting to be. That identity was solely a product of output, and someone new, or at least the new version of myself I was reaching towards, would eventually materialize at the end of a long enough streak of consistent actions. But you don't become somebody new by doing the same things more efficiently day in, day out. You become someone new by actually changing something, doing different things in your life. I think it was Albert Einstein who said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome. I think you have to change in the exact way that you do think, in what you are willing to let go and hold on to in your life, what you genuinely want rather than what you've decided you want or decided you need. I myself as a person have been productive. However, I have not been honest to myself about what the productivity actually was for. If you do not have a pure soul, the universe will not reward you with a pure life. And the biggest issue of this entire debacle for me is that I still don't have reasons. I still haven't found purpose. I told my parents that I'm not going to university, and I despise it and I do not want to go because it just doesn't feel like the right thing for me. But when someone asks me why, I still don't have a reason for not going. I still don't have a reason for not wanting to go. I feel as if the reason I was supposed to earn throughout this year, the income I was supposed to make to provide to my parents, that I didn't need it, or the reason that would make my choice feel like a conviction instead of avoidance, hasn't arrived yet. And maybe it will. Maybe one day I'm going to look back on this video and think it was so clear to me this whole time. Maybe it'll only become visible in retrospect, once I've been forced into a decision that I don't want to make, or into a life that is really only about avoiding the life that you must fulfill. Maybe after enough time has passed, the choice has produced something worth pointing at. Maybe only then I will realize why I made the right choice, but right now it sure as hell doesn't feel like it. Or maybe even I've just been waiting for an external validation to turn into an internal decision into something solid. I've been waiting for the reason to materialize itself instead of me finding the reason. Maybe the reason was always mine to make rather than mine to find. And I don't know. To be as honest as possible, I do not know yet, and I'm not sure if I will. But that is probably the only honest thing I can say about this year. I don't know yet, and the habits are there, the work is there, the productivity exists, but the person I thought I would be by now, or at least by 2 months ago, isn't here at all. And I myself am still the same person from the start of the year, doing the same exact sequence, waiting for the morning when something finally feels different. Maybe that is what this year produced, and that's it. Not any sort of income, not any sort of reason, not even a transformation. Just the knowledge that doing the right things isn't, and probably never will be the same as becoming the right person. And the gap between those two things is basically exactly where the work starts.